Welcome back to the Life of Phys Podcast. I'm your host, Tyson Martin. On this episode, I sit down with Ryan Aanderud, a Portland, Oregon-based photographer whose work reminds us that photography is not just about images. It is about connection, trust, and service to the communities around us. I was introduced to Ryan through my childhood friend, Ben Tobin. Someone many of you may already know from the show or through the work he does with the community around Spokane, Washington. Ben has a way of bringing good people together, and Ryan is absolutely one of those people. Ryan has been carrying a camera since he was very young, but over time, photography became something deeper for him. It became a way to engage with people, to listen, and to give something back. When Ryan heads out into the streets, he is not just walking with a camera. In his bag, you will often find food, clothing, medical kits, Narcan, and even printed photographs that he returns to the people who trusted him enough to collaborate in a portrait. For Ryan, the act of photographing someone is never about simply taking a picture. It is about building a moment of trust between two people. All of his images are shot on a 28mm lens, which means he works extremely close to his subjects. That physical closeness requires honesty, openness, and respect. The result is a body of work that feels deeply human. His photography shines a light on people who are often overlooked and asks us to slow down and truly see the humanity in front of us. It is street photography rooted in empathy. In this conversation, we talk about Ryan's journey with photography, how service and storytelling can live side by side, what it means to photograph with intention, and why the relationships formed along the way matter far more than the images themselves. Ryan's work is a powerful reminder that when we approach photography with humility and compassion, the camera becomes more than a tool. It becomes a bridge between people. This is a conversation about humanity, trust, and the quiet power of something showing up with a camera and an open heart. Now let's get to the show. So yeah, man, I'm excited for this one. I found your work through my buddy Ben.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Ben and I go back to 9 years old.
That's amazing, man.
So we grew up, I grew up in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I terrorized that town on a skateboard or a BMX bike, terrorized it.
I love it, dude. That's I don't know. I used to skate and it was my dream to have a nice BMX bike as a kid, but it didn't quite happen for me. I always wanted to be into bikes. I know that was kind of Ben's thing too.
Yeah.
And I don't know, were you really terrorizing it, or is it just people's reaction to a board with wheels? They kind of freaked out for no reason back in the day. I don't know why, but they did.
100% they did. I remember having a gun pulled on us for grinding a curb in front of the old video store in downtown Milwaukee.
Wow, that's an aggressive option for a cop, man. That's crazy.
Oh no, that was the owner of the store.
Oh, oh my God. That's so crazy. Actually, I had dinner with Ben last night. He's in Portland, and if your ears were burning, we were talking about you, man. So,
hopefully all
he's
good things.
Good dude. All good, man. All good. I mean, it's kind of a cliche, but I really believe I just turned 50 this year, and it's kind of a trippy number to hit.
I hit it last November. So
Yeah. Did it affect you? Did you feel it, or?
I almost died the week before in the hospital from an infection. So yeah, I felt it.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's crazy. I'm glad you're okay. What was it? What happened? If you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm a open book, man. I share my story because hopefully it helps somebody else. I commute by e-bike to and from work, little pedal assist e-bike, just get out and rip. And it was really nice that morning. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to work wearing jeans and a t-shirt. No big deal. I do this all the time. On the way home, it started pouring rain. So my jeans got soaked and I got a saddle sore, 2.5 millimeters. So about that big. And I woke up the next day. I'm like, no big deal. I've had hundreds of these. Rode to work. Felt great. On the ride home, I was like, man, it's super sore. I must have opened it again. Typical logic. And got home, cleaned it up again. Woke up Saturday, grabbed my camera, took off out the door. I'm like, I like to be up right at sunrise and capture moments. And I was like, I'm super nauseous. This is weird, but I'm going to still go.
Whoa.
Came home and I laid down on the couch and I was like, out. I slept for like 14 hours. And I was like,
Whoa.
oh, I must be getting the flu. My little guy just got over the flu. It's my turn. No big deal.
Hmm.
All these no big deals. I had no signs of anything yet. And then 3 days later, I was sitting in where I am now. I have a couch and everything behind me. My son came in and he was like, dude, Dad, you stink. Go have a shower. I'm like, thinking back, I'm like, okay, I've been on the couch for 4 days. I'm sure I probably do.
Yeah.
So I got up to
Yeah.
go have a shower, hit the shower on, turned around, looked in the mirror, and my leg from my hip 6 inches down and 11 inches around was probably 3/4 of an inch puffed up and purple and red.
That's crazy.
I had nothing earlier in the day. And I was like, uh-oh. So called my wife up. I'm like, hey, don't freak out, but I'm going to show you something. And I don't know what it is. So I showed her instantly on the phone to get an ambulance coming. They never showed up. That was awesome because that's the problem we deal with here in British Columbia is ambulances not showing up.
Oh,
And
really? Wow.
yeah, I went to the hospital. They got me in. I showed the lady at the front desk. I'm like, hey, I know it's busy here, but can I show you this? Because I got wheeled in a wheelchair and I'm not someone who gets wheeled in anywhere. And I showed
Yeah.
her instantly in the back. I had 5 different IVs, isolation room. And that night I was just laying there and I closed my eyes and my heart basically stopped. And I was hallucinating 80s TV commercials, the old black and white TV commercials that we had in the 80s.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
but then I woke up and everybody was standing over me freaking out. And I was like, whoa, I was just in a commercial with Phyllis Diller. What is going on? And they're like, so they took me off the sleeping pills. They'd given me sleeping medication because they wanted me to just rest.
Mhm.
And that turned into a 4-week ordeal in the hospital. I came home the day before my 50th birthday. So I got to celebrate my birthday at home.
Dude, that's so crazy. I well, thank God your kid told you to take a shower, man.
Right? It could have been if I
I mean,
didn't go shower
yeah,
that night, I would have died.
that's so insane.
Yeah.
Wow. Just from riding your bike in the rain, man. Isn't that crazy? It's weird. It's like from being a, skate kid in the 80s. I don't know about you, but I think it's the generation too. I was like wired for invincibility.
Yeah.
Like, at least I thought I was. And then you see the fragility of life too. I mean, that's really crazy. I had something happen in 2021 where I was having an issue with my leg, just some numbness in my leg, and then found out that I had a back issue. And I spent a summer in bed because I couldn't walk. It was kind of crazy. And I went and got surgery, just a simple discectomy, like pretty typical, middle age surgery. And I just get some, parts fixed. And yeah, the surgeon, I laughingly call him Dr. Butterfingers, but like, yeah, he cut my artery. I didn't know I was in recovery. The surgery was done. My wife got a phone call, pick him up. He's great. She was on her way, and then I was having abdomen pain, and I was bleeding out, man, in recovery. And I told the nurse, I was like, I think I might appendix burst. Like this feels crazy. And yeah, I lost like 70% of my blood. It was really nuts, dude. And it was just like for a very simple kind of in and out thing, man. And so yeah, I respect life, and I don't know about you, how you feel. It sounds like that wasn't too long ago, but and I know
It,
you've been through a lot in your life. I've listened to a lot of your podcasts, but
I appreciate that.
yeah, I don't take stuff for granted. Yeah, I don't take stuff for granted the way that I probably once did.
Yeah. Let's see. We're in October. So it was crazy because I work in for an off-road company. So we build customers off-road trucks. So we do
Oh, cool.
end of September, early October, we do an annual staff trip with some of the guests from the year. We take them up to a
Oh, cool.
lodge up in the interior of British Columbia, and then we show them around. It's like 36
Wow.
hours off-road trail use. It's pretty amazing. So I did
Oh,
that.
fun.
I came back. Canadian Thanksgiving's in October, which is weird to me still. I've been here for 35 years, but it's still weird.
Yeah.
Um, but we get a day off. So my wife and I took my wife down to Astoria and then down along the
Oh,
Oregon
cool.
coast where I grew up going with my grandparents. I showed her the Goonies house and all that stuff. Had a
Yeah,
blast.
totally.
Had an absolutely amazing time. And then I was coming back and I had 3 days of work. And then I was off again for something else. And that first day was the day I rode home in the rain. The next day was
Oh
uh,
man.
rode to work, didn't feel well. And then Saturday happened. So that's the start of it. So yeah, I'm like 2 weeks out from being a year since I was in the hospital.
Oh man.
And I
You're
just
a tough
got
guy, man.
cleared.
Glad you're okay.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
yeah.
I just
Yeah.
got cleared
Yeah.
to start riding my bike again less than 2 weeks ago.
Wow. And you got kids, right?
I got six.
You
Yeah.
have 4 kids?
I have four of my
You have
own,
4 kids?
two stepkids. So
Oh, cool. Oh, that's awesome, man.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I have 4 too. So I relate. It's yeah, I think about that too, as well. Like maybe less about my life, but more about, kids needing their dad, So you
I find
feel
it.
that more when you go through that stuff.
I had a lot of alone time, which I hadn't had. I've been a dad since I was 20. So
Hmm.
I haven't had a lot of alone time. And 4 weeks in the hospital where everybody would leave by like 8 o'clock because only my kids and my wife could come see me. So they'd leave by 8 and I'd have all this time. And I was so stressed out about the show. I was so stressed out about a contract I had at the time with a lighting brand, which was killing me, but now seems to be okay. They just want me to keep selling their product. They don't really care what if I have an ad anymore. Um,
Yeah.
but I was so stressed out. I had a goal of 52 episodes. I think I went in the hospital with only 36 done, and I
Hmm.
had enough to do 52, but I couldn't focus long enough to edit sound. The sounds were driving me nuts. So I just sat there, and I'm pretty sure I watched all of Netflix. I don't think there's anything on Netflix I didn't watch, but it gave me perspective.
Yeah. Hmm.
It
Yeah.
really put into my brain that I have more time behind me than I have left ahead of me.
That's a crazy thing to think about, man. I think about that too. That's a funny coincidence. I also finished Netflix when I went through my health thing. It's funny. That was kind of my joke. I was like, "Yep, it's all done."
Yeah,
But yeah, it's that time to reflect. I mean, I don't know. It's also kind of a weird thing, maybe hitting 52. The way I'm thinking about things is a little different than how I had thought about them before.
yeah.
And so, just a level of openness. I've always been kind of an open person, or at least I try to be. And I feel more and more open to new experiences and, saying yes to things. And when typically I might be a little bit more reserved because, yeah, it's just like I said earlier, I mean, it is fragile,
Yeah.
Um,
You got a very
yeah,
similar
glad you're all
story.
right.
Thank you, dude. I'm glad you're
Yeah,
doing
brother.
it too.
Yeah, man.
Like I came out of this thing and I said, I'm going to say yes to any opportunity I have. Um,
Mm. It's happening for you. It's happening. It's like, there's this thing. I don't, and again, I'm not a super woo-woo guy, but I don't know, man. I think like you're kind of floating in a particular direction, and I think you just being open into it, man, that things are going to happen for you. I sent you a message a while ago, but I'll introduce you to a friend of mine, like similar to Ben to you. Like I've known her since we share the same birthday, which is funny. And we realized that when we were at camp as little kids, we both had to get up on a table. And we're like, what? We got the same birthday? But anyway, she made a career change. We're the same age within the last couple of years, and now she does audiobooks and voiceovers and voice acting
Sick.
and yeah, so I'll introduce you. She moved to Pittsburgh, but it's pretty cool, man. It's funny because she's reading some romance novels. She's like, I never thought I'd be doing something like this, and she said she noticed that like some of her friends' husbands are starting to look at her a little different. It's pretty funny, man. But yeah, same thing. Like, and I'm open about this too. Like you said, I'm a pretty open book because I am who I am. Like, but I was in a therapy session, I think it was last week actually, and the therapist was talking about this heart surgeon who's who actually split her life into thirds. Like she knew she wanted to be a surgeon. She knew she wanted to be a mom. She knew she wanted to kind of do something big with her life. And so I've been living on this linear trajectory in a way where it's like, hey, work in corporate America. I don't really care about the gold watch, but retire when you're 65 and then, and then you just, do whatever. And I don't like that. It doesn't
Yeah.
fit well for me. I don't like knowing that. And I'm 50, but in my head, I'm 31. I look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, oh man, like you are not 31, but I feel that way,
Yeah.
and so this doctor, she organized her life into thirds, and this is very strategic. Again, I don't really think this way, but she knew that the genealogy of her family, she would live a long time. And so she's like, the first 30 of my life, I'm going to do my education. I'm going to get my doctorate. I'm going to get my PhD, like become this doctor. And then the second chapter, she was a mom. And then it's not a hard line, between the thirds, but like there was a gradient between each one. And now I think she's in her 70s and she had this amazing invention for a heart surgical process, and now she goes around educating. She's not practicing as much, but she's teaching, she's inspiring, she's lecturing with this chapter of her life. And I love that he said this to me, and and that's just, for you too, where it's like, you got a lot of life left, and
Yep.
so it's like you're reinventing yourself when you probably know yourself really well, like from knowing a little bit about you, you lived through some shit, so that you're battle tested, I guess you could say. You're forged, and yeah, and so yeah, this onto this next chapter, that's exciting. So yeah, man, I feel the same way with my photography. It's like I made a weird decision in my 20s. I don't know. I felt like it was logic at the time where I've been a designer like to make money for a long time. I worked for Nike for a long time, worked for Adidas for a long time, worked for a lot of different sport brands. I grew up playing sports, and that's kind of how I got into it. I just wanted a creative job. And in that industry, and it was interesting, it was fun, but it was not fulfilling. And but I got into photography like with one of my first paychecks. I bought a camera in my early 20s, like maybe 21, 22. I started working there really young, and I just fell in love with it. And I made this conscious decision. I saw this fork in the road, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go be a photographer, or I'm gonna be a designer. But the design, I don't know why I couldn't do both, but the design work felt just a little more stable, I guess. I had
Yeah.
something established, and yeah, and so I rode on that path for a long time. Actually, until I got married. I was divorced, didn't work out, didn't have enough money really to pay rent for me and my kids. And I had accrued a nice amount of camera gear, these old Hasselblads. I'd have Mamiya. I had a like twin lens camera, like. And I remember sitting in a coffee shop with my kids. We were living in an apartment in downtown Portland, and I had a bag of gear, like all my stuff. And someone came into the coffee shop from Craigslist, and one of those transactions that's fully legal but feels fully shady.
Yep.
And I just handed over my bag of gear, and they handed me cash, and it sustained me for a while.
Yep.
And which is sad though, is I was I didn't take another photo for quite a while. I think it was kind of a bit of a mortal injury that I recovered from, but I yeah, I didn't realize I got back into it again a year and a half ago after all this health stuff, and it's just I've fully like aligned to who I'm supposed to be. I feel like now, it's like this
Yep.
part of me that's been missing for a really long time just has kind of realigned. So it's good to have it back. It's good to, and you're doing the same thing with your voice acting and your photography and this podcast. Like we're all trying to kind of, at least in my mind, like become who we're supposed to be.
100%, man. That's what's so weird about it is I wanted to do a podcast for so long. I mean, I've
Mm.
been in sales my whole career has been working sales. Had a corporate job, I got divorced. She left, didn't want the kids, didn't want debt, nothing. So I kept the kids, kept all the debt, quit my corporate job and worked at a bicycle shop and then made donuts at night
Hmm.
because I had to keep a roof over our head. Um,
Yeah.
and I find that moment when I had nothing but disposable income, we could do whatever we wanted,
Mhm.
whenever we wanted, to like counting change to go buy a package of hamburger to feed my children was like,
Yeah, man.
it was a weird. change in my life. I sold my car, didn't have a car for 2 years. I walked everywhere with 4 kids, walked them to school, walked to work, walked back to pick them up, took them home, walked to the grocery store, everything. And it made me realize how strong and how determined I was to give them a life.
Yeah, man.
So it was a
Ooh.
rough time, but now I'm like, I remember releasing the first episode of the show and laughing and being like, nobody's going to listen to this. And then I was like, you know
Mhm.
what? I'm going to release episode 2. All right. Oh, look, people are starting to listen. Episode 3. But I'm still in that, like, what gear do you shoot? What camera stuff do you like? And then I hit
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
episode 4 and we started connecting. For me, it was always going to be about mental health and the connection between that and creativity. But I
Hmm.
couldn't, the first 3 people were amazing, but they weren't as open. And then guest number
Hmm.
4 started sharing his cancer journey and how he was going to take his life. And then all of a sudden remembered how important taking photos was and went back and started shooting. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
I just found it. I found
Yep.
what I needed. And from then on,
Yeah.
I really a couple like I've been interviewing a lot of surf photographers lately, and I really find it
Mhm.
interesting what gear they use because it's underwater and it's crazy. But other than that,
Yeah.
I just want to hear your journey, man. That's what it is. I want to hear your story. I want to hear, I think what you do is amazing. I think I know Portland and I know how great a lot of people are, but you're up close and
Hmm.
personal, and I can't wait to hear about that. Uh,
Yeah.
but man, it's the next chapter. I've got over those speed bumps. Financially,
Yeah.
I'd love to be in a different spot than I am currently, but I'm still recovering from a year ago. But
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
I still
You
have my
get
Hasselblad.
there it is, man. Is that a 501?
It's a
500? What do you
500.
got?
Yeah,
I was
500.
just I was just shooting the other day in the Japanese garden in Portland. I do these things called I call them like palette cleansers because I kind of am in the grit,
Yeah.
and I like shooting when I shoot because it gives me a feeling of purpose and just alignment and fulfillment. Like I'm feel like I'm doing something that matters to me and hopefully helping someone. That's my goal out of it.
Mhm.
But I'll have to do these palette cleansers where I'm like, I just need to get out of Chinatown or Old Town for a minute and just, shoot the colors in the garden and watch the koi. And there's a guy up there from outside San Francisco who had that same camera around his neck. I just felt just I talked to him for a minute, of course. We were being nerds and admiring each other's equipment. I'm talking about cameras, and I was like, and I was like, and I just it just felt very nostalgic looking at that thing,
Yeah.
so it's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love what you're doing, man. Honestly, I'll be super candid. Like, of course, I open book, but like, mental health has been a struggle for me my entire life, man. I remember. And it goes back. I mean, I think it's in the bloodline.
Let's
And
keep
there's a
that
bit of
thought so we can share it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
just get you to I love there's one part of the beginning that I'm going to play before you introduce yourself just because I love the way you worded it. But yeah,
Oh,
just introduce yourself where you're from, and then we'll
yeah,
break into we can start with mental health or we start with the journey, how you found photography, and we can kind of go through and
yeah.
then bring it to where you are today. It's super easy, but you're giving all this gold and I just don't want to miss it.
Oh, I mean, I don't really know what I'm doing, and candidly, I don't really talk about myself a lot. So this is like I'm being vulnerable, but you are as are you. But yeah, so my name's Ryan Aanderud. I'm from Portland, Oregon. I laughingly call myself one of the weird local ones. Because it just, Portland has become this city of people from all over, which I actually really love. It's given the city some cool texture, and I don't know how I got into photography. I was always like a really visual, artistic kid. I was always drawing or doodling. It was kind of my escape. I didn't, I played sports growing up. That was a really important part of my life. I think it was just a really good release and felt, very freeing and fun. But yeah, just I always came back to creativity on my downtime, and I I I still have it. It's really funny. I took a photography class when I was in seventh grade, And I remember my teacher, Mr. Cost, and we had these, cool little SLRs. And I remember setting up this lighting and taking a portrait. And I still have this 8x10 headshot of a girl in my class. Maybe I should find her because it's amazing. It's completely out of focus and it's the full 80s. Like she has a perm, her glasses are huge and crooked, and it's fully out of focus. And I just love it, man. Because it's kind of my first entree into the experience. And I guess like I think part of the reason why I don't really like talking about myself too much, and I never really I have social media, but I really just do it to hold myself accountable to shooting. I want to shoot every single day. Some days I can. I have my camera with me all the time. And I used to love printing in the black and white film process. I still, I'm sure I still do. I just haven't done it in a long time. I had a dark room, and you know, and I love printing. I love that experience as much. But I didn't have a camera for quite a while, and I don't know how. I don't know how it came to me. But I felt this desire and need just from my soul to get back into it. And I found a camera that just it's digital, but it recreates imagery like so similar to what I used to shoot in black and white film. And it's so simple in its operation that I just, again, we don't need to get super nerdy on technical stuff unless you want to, but like it just really resonated with me and connected to me. And I'm not a materialistic person. I don't really care about stuff, but I think this is the probably the one piece of material that I own that I would probably go back into a burning house to get once all the people are out.
Are you a born and bred Oregonian?
Yeah, man. Yeah, the blue skin and all, man. It's funny, I don't really live far from where I was born. I live maybe 10 blocks from where I was born. I did design work all through my 20s and was super lucky to get to travel around the world doing that, which is, a blessing, and got to go to eat Chinese food in China, and, like go to elephant sanctuaries in Thailand. And, I'm very, very fortunate for that. And I love the city, and being a dad of four as well, like you, well, six, sorry, but being a dad with I jokingly say I overbred, but like I love them, man. They're just like they give me purpose in my life, and I love raising my kids here. So I think that's partly why I stay. I think that the rain's a little tough, the darkness is a little tough in the winter, but for the most part, like food's amazing. I kind of agree with the political slant of the city. Pretty open-minded guy. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So I like it here.
Yeah. As a fellow born and bred Oregonian, uh, I can tell you it's the one place that I would move back to in a heartbeat from where I
Hmm.
currently am. And I mean, Vancouver, BC is probably one of the most beautiful cities you can ever visit. I got
Yeah,
a ski hill 30 minutes away. I grew up 25 minutes from the beach. Like
yeah,
it was pretty good compared to growing up in Milwaukee and it's 2.5 hours to the coast or 2.5 hours to Mount Hood. You've got all
yeah,
these, you got to travel to get there. Where I grew up, I could 30 minutes. I was snowboarding, at the end of the snowboard season, but then you can come down on a warm day and you could be skimboarding at the ocean the same day. And it was,
it's I mean
it was crazy.
amazing. And
Unfortunately, I can't
Canadians are
afford.
nice.
Yeah, they are, and I couldn't afford Vancouver anymore. But I live about an hour away from
Yeah.
Vancouver now. But we do what we got to do to make sure our families can continue to grow. And being a father to multiple children, it's not
Hmm.
easy all the time.
Yeah, I applaud you for the efforts that you put in prioritizing them. I think as we talk, I think probably have more in common than cameras and skateboards. I think that in Portland, but the yeah, I think listening to your story is powerful for me because you are an excellent father. I can tell because you care. Like, t saying the things that you say, you're making an effort to care about your kids and prioritize them and make sacrifices to put them first. And I've listened to you, so I do know that you've had really bumpy road to get here, man. So I think like and some serious trauma, it sounds like, candidly. And I think that it's really really amazing that you kind of rewrote the script. I think I didn't have a I didn't have a terrible upbringing. It wasn't I didn't have a great relationship with my mom. It was a little tough. There's some mental health stuff in the mix on that one for sure. Um, and so, but I think my philosophy of as a parent is really just to kind of take what worked and kind of reinvent what didn't so that it does. It's the kind of that literally that simple, man. So, sounds like you're a pretty awesome dad from the stuff you've been through. So yeah,
But
good on you.
when I first found out I was going to be a dad, the fears of the childhood that I had came rushing through me. Um,
Hmm.
am I going to recreate that cycle? Am I going to be that person? And I mean, I lose my temper and I get angry, but nowhere near what I went through. And
Yeah.
what I'm hoping through having this show and talking to people like yourself, Ryan, who understand what it's like to be a dad with multiple children and you're trying to figure it out and you sell your shit to make it happen. Um, in the end, none of that mattered. All that mattered was seeing that smile when I came home from work, seeing them
Oh man.
happy, going out to play, laughing, having a blast. It became non-materialistic. Like Christmas was like one thing they in their top five that they really wanted, but the rest was like underwear and socks, necessities for the
Mhm.
year that we needed to survive. And now that we've moved out of that stage, we moved into another stage. Um, I mean, my youngest biological child's turning 21. Like
Mhm.
it's crazy. I have a 31-year-old
Wow.
daughter with two grandkids. I have another daughter who graduated university. Like it's
It's
it
amazing,
blows
man.
my mind what is happening. But through the show, this is where I became really focused on fixing or not fixing, but understanding what I went through. And this is why I found a therapist. This is why I got a
Hmm.
medication. And this is why I'm really trying to focus on letting others know, especially at 50 years old, we grew up in an era where we weren't supposed to have emotions, feelings, men don't cry. You're not hurt, get up, wipe it off. To let people know it's okay. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to be sensitive. That actually is what life is about, is being okay with all the feelings you feel. Right. And that's
Yeah.
where the camera came in for me,
Yeah.
man. Like the camera for me was, I was looking for something to replace that feeling of skateboarding. I need
Oh yeah.
something. There's nothing like it. Anybody who hasn't skateboarded, sorry, you don't understand this, but even riding a
Mhm.
skateboard down the street, the feeling of the wheels on the concrete up through your feet,
Mhm.
you can never explain it to somebody. And that's what I was
Yeah.
missing. It'd been so long because of all my injuries. I was like, oh, I need to find something. That's what the shutter did. Clicking that shutter really connected me back to that. And that was only 6 years ago.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I think there's a connection right there, at least for me too. It feels like freedom. It feels like it's they're both kind of filled with self-expression, like your skate style, like your photography style. I mean, there is a connection there, and actually I love it. Like I was mentioning earlier, like one of the palette cleansers I'll do is just go down to the some of the skate parks. Like there's a new one in Chinatown. If you come to town, they'll take you there. And then there's one in obviously Burnside, which is kind of world famous. And I love actually the skate community is super open to photographers there, even though it has a reputation of being a little bit rough. And there's a couple people that don't love having their photos taken, but of course I respect that. But I love the kind of blending between those two art forms, I guess.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely looking forward to coming. I mean, it was 22 years before I came back home. And I was only,
Oh wow.
um, man, it's 2 Octobers ago. So it's 2 years ago
Mm,
that I came back home for the first time. And that's because I
wow.
just found my birth parents. So I was going to meet my birth mom for the first time. and she's
Ooh,
just
that
lived right,
sounds.
yeah, right outside of Vancouver, Washington, in a small town, and it's been amazing. Like my birth mom and my half siblings have all been incredible. Birth dad,
Mm,
not so much, but
yeah.
that's just kind of the way it works. And I know Nigel listens sometimes, so Nigel, you tell Dad to give me a call. Nigel's my half brother on my dad's side, but like I just want to. I really what my plan is like to spend a month and just take my time up the Oregon coast,
Mm,
capturing moments, all those small towns, capturing history, and then
yeah.
memories, and then make my way up into Portland
Yeah.
and spend some time because usually it's like I have a day, I have 2 days, I'm in and out really
Hmm.
quick. So you
Yeah.
don't get a chance to really connect or remember the area.
Yeah. Yeah. Pre-children, if I needed in pre-therapy, candidly, I would do this kind of like Oregon rectangle. One side's a little straighter than the other, but I would, basically go out to the coast from Portland. Like you said, it's like a couple hour drive, maybe a little less depending on what town you're going to. But I go to Astoria, like as far north as you can get, and take 101 all the way down, almost to the bottom of Oregon, and then just cut over to I-5 and just come straight up. And that'd be like, really long day, but an amazing day, right? All the different climates and I love, being in a car with you can't I like I said, I have a camera with me all the time. So just having it with me and what you see and yeah, it's nice to sometimes it's nice to be alone with your thoughts, but yeah, let me know, man, when you come out. We'll definitely get out. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it'd be great. So let's talk about your current works that you're putting up on your
Mhm.
Instagram. We call it Portrait Project. Um,
Yeah.
I'll put the links in the show notes for it. But I remember I found you through our mutual friend Ben Tobin, capturing
Yeah.
Spokane. Ben is an amazing artist himself. Um,
Yeah.
so I remember he was in town. He met up with you and your shooting partner. I can't remember the name currently. It's Ghost something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Her name's Tara, and she goes by Ghost Portland. And yeah, we'll talk more about her too. She had a huge impact on my work. But yeah, yeah. So yeah, Ben came into town, and
So Ben came into town and he started shoot. Ben does something similar in Spokane where he lives. What brought this project to the forefront for you? What made this realize like it clicked with you and you're like, I'm going to share people's stories. I'm going to talk to the
Mhm.
people that that most of life forgets. And you brought their story out.
I think you said it better than I could say it, or more succinctly. Uh, so yeah, I think, I've been wired with a high level of empathy my whole life. I mean, hearing your stories about your childhood, or I walk with a lump in my throat a lot, just, feeling other people's feelings. I talk about it with my kids. A younger two really are pretty sensitive as well. And we talk about the idea that it's this gift to feel. It's kind of a double-edged thing, I feel it's a gift. I feel very lucky that I can feel this frequency of emotions that I do, but it's hard. It's taxing on my mental health as well. And I'd see these people, and you see people kind of walk by them and they're guarded, whether it's, they're at an intersection with a cardboard sign or they're asking for change. And I would often leave these interactions with people that are brief, and I would start sobbing. I know that sounds crazy, but I would feel this level of intensity in my interactions with them because I don't look at them as people that are dirty. I don't look at them as people that are, they do have mental health issues, but I look at them as a daughter or a niece or a nephew or a son or a father because they are all those things. And the the project really came down to me trying to just I want to tell the stories of humans, humanity. Like these are real people, and uh and that just and the craziest stories, man. I mean, it's like this one guy I met, he's not just a guy that is smoking fentanyl on the street. Like he was a college baseball player, not far from where you live in Washington. He got drafted and played for a minor league team for the Mariners, and they were playing the minor league team for the Yankees. I think they're in maybe Brooklyn, Bronx. Forgive me if I'm getting this wrong. I think Brooklyn, but he's a pitcher. He's walking me through his story and he's showing me his pitches, his different kind of, finger grip on the as he would on a ball. He's showing me the different configurations of his fingers with different pitches on a meth pipe. And this is my curve, this is my knuckle, this is my slider with a meth pipe. And come to find out, he got hit in the face with a line drive hit, and went to the hospital, was out, and came out with a drug addiction, and lives on the streets of Chinatown. I see him all the time, and he actually approached me because he wanted to tell his story. He wanted to write his story, and I got him some writing materials, and I found him a few days later, and I see him all the time. I don't think he's writing anything. I think he's kind of definitely in the throes of his addiction. But honestly, everybody has these, not a story like that, but everybody has their own story. And so I think telling some of the stories, I had another photographer tell me that he's like, the writing is as important as the image. And I don't know if I understood that the way that I understand it now, but I think it is really important. And especially in kind of my project, what I'm trying to do is just put a face on people that are marginalized, not just a face, but a story. Tell a little bit of their story. And granted, there's snippets, and granted, social media, and it's sandwiched in between everybody else's feeds. But it's important to me that people see. It's important to me that I can share some of the empathy that I have with others, so they can understand. And I just had a post the other day that was really like people are generous. Like they offer money to buy food, they offer money to buy clothing or blankets or to support. I think that's their way of reaching out. But the biggest thing is just saying hello to people. I know that sounds so cliche, but I have so many people that are like, "Hey, thank you for talking to me today. Thank you for just saying hello. Thank you for treating me like a person." That's a that's an intense thing. It's intensely simple, but it's a basic human need that people have for interactions. But yeah, so it's kind of evolved into this thing and kind of taken off. And yeah, I love the photographic nature of it. I love connecting with people. I shoot with a black and white, a monochrome Leica. It's called a Q2 Monochrom, and I got a 28 millimeter lens on it, so it's super wide. And so a lot of what I do, it also pushes me to get really close to my subjects. So there'll be times where, you know what it's like when you're looking through your camera, you don't know how far away you are from the subject. You kind of lose your depth a little bit depending on what lens is in there. And since this thing is so wide, sometimes I'll find myself, people are like, whoa, 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 dude. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I wasn't trying to kiss you. Like I just got really, really close in our interaction. But yeah, because I want to get up close with people. I want to have that. I want to share that intimacy of that. And I've always felt like I don't really script people. I don't pose them. I think the photo that I try to make with this person is a reflection of our interaction. That's how I see it. And so, what you want to give me, and you're generous enough to give me, you don't have to do that. I'm grateful for, and I take that, and I just and I yeah and I share it. And people ask, they're like, sometimes people interact and they're like, "Hey man, like, are you paying them? Are you giving them money? Are you doing this? Are you doing that?" And they sometimes people will think that I'm taking advantage of this marginalized community, and I try to explain it. People are going to make their assumptions, and that's okay. But I know why I'm doing it. I know the kind of the pure intent of why I'm doing it. So yeah, but that's kind of it in a nutshell.
The thing about your images that I look at, you can tell when somebody is taking advantage of that community in their photos.
Mhm.
And when I look at yours, you have complete eye contact. There's something established between you and them or to let you capture that image the way you do. It's not like you just saw them on the street and you're like, click. and went on because
Mhm.
you never get the emotion of the eye. The eye doesn't lie. So when you look at these images and you're like, oh, like these people are dead looking in your camera, that there was something
Mhm.
previous that was established before you snapped that picture.
Yeah, there's thank you for saying that. Thank you for understanding. That means a lot. And that's really kind of that's it. And I just feel like, sometimes people are a little shy, or I'll catch another kind of moment of people looking away, but I want the viewer to see what I saw, and that was that connection, and it is that relationship, and this is a human looking at you. And so I've even thought I've collected some photos, and they're printed, some favorites, and I've thought about this, even like hanging them, if and when I ever have a show or something. It's not going to be for anything monetary other than a give back, but I want to frame these photos. Typically in a gallery, they're kind of all at eye line, right? But I was thinking about framing them and hanging them above head level at an angle, so they're tilted down. So my subject is looking down at you the way that these people are looked down upon. And I know it's a little different, but it's like, um, most of the time these people are sitting on the ground, and I'll sit down with them like on the sidewalk, and we'll talk, and we'll share food, and whatever else they need, and can have a human conversation about their lives and whatever else they want to talk about. And as opposed to the majority of people that pass them every day, they're at a lower plane. They're sitting down while people are walking. And so you only see them from one vantage point versus, really at their eye level. And I think that's just basic human connection, right? It's just looking in someone's eye and kind of getting on their level. But you mentioned my friend and shooting partner. I give her a, really a lot of credit, because I see people that I kind of know everybody in this part of town now, or a lot, of people, because I'm just circling it in every evening. And Tara, she goes by Ghost Portland, and she was a really big influence on me because we just met via Instagram. She's like, "Oh, I like your style," and I was like, and I meanwhile I was looking at her work, and I was like, "She's the real deal. She's doing what I want to be doing because she's in it." Like, and so we were kind of circling each other. It's funny, like, there's one day, I think not too long ago, the fog rolls into Portland, and I was shooting the steel bridge
Yep.
from the upper level. Yeah, I was at the upper level, and she was shooting the steel bridge at the lower level at the exact same time. Like, we didn't even know we were there. So it's funny, we were kind of circling each other, and then we finally, overlapped, and we worked together really well. And I think, and it's a blend of outreach and support. I walk around. She walks around with Narcan. She gets a lot of Narcan donated to her. She gives it to me. And whether it's helping someone, giving them food, buying them an iced tea, somebody needs a cigarette, like, I don't judge anyone's drug use or what they're going through, because I just view that as a moment of medication. Someone's trying to help themselves. Someone's not doing well. I lost three cousins to heroin, not, before fentanyl was really kind of a thing on the streets. And they grew up in the same neighborhood, not far from you and me, like in Northeast Portland. And one died, one's in prison, and one works for the cartel, man. Like, how crazy is that? They went to Catholic school, dude. Like, and so I spent Christmases with them as kids, and so it can happen to anyone. But back to Tara Ghost. She's amazing, because the first time we actually went and shot together, it was funny. We're circling each other for a while, like I said, and I'd see a group of people, and I would be not fearful, but respectful. So is the way that I saw it. But I would walk around them as to not interrupt a conversation or whatever they were doing. I didn't want them to feel like I was an outsider that was judging them. So I was giving them space. And she's like, "Oh, no, 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 no. We walk. No, we go this way." And we would walk through, and then, you know, day by day with these interactions, I got to know people. They got to trust me. I got to hear their stories. I get to know them, and I don't shoot every time I see them because I don't want them to think it's a transaction that's only about my photography or taking something from them in an image. But now it's comes to a point where a lot of my, I would say, friends in that area, they want their photo taken. They want to be seen. They want to be validated for their existence. And there's some people that don't. And like I said, I'm a feeling person, so I feel out the situation. It is led with empathy. So if they're not feeling it, yeah, like literally last night before dinner with our buddy Ben, I did a little loop through Chinatown and I saw one of my friends down there and she was sobbing, crying, and I just next thing I know, I'm like hugging this woman. She's, like shedding tears all over my shirt, and she just needed a connection. She just needed a moment. And I don't know if she was dope sick or heart sick or mentally sick, probably a cocktail of all, blended. And I didn't take a picture. I didn't need that. I just, for me, it was about outreach and kind of helping her. And yeah, that's kind of why I'm doing it. So I got a compliment from a friend that I used to work with a long time ago. Recently, I haven't talked to him in probably 20 years, but he's like, you're doing this blend of action and humanity. So you're kind of documenting these things, you're making images, but you're also kind of helping. And that it felt nice to be understood that way, because that's really what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to make money. I'm not making money. I'm just trying to help people and kind of tell their stories, I guess.
That's incredible, man. So that moment that you took, it always sounds weird to say like, oh, it made somebody's day. But when you think about it, that moment you took to hug the person who was in that stressful, sad section of their day was probably a lifesaver for that person. It gave them connection, and it gave them connection to somebody who isn't in their position. Isn't in their situation. And when you can connect with
Yeah.
somebody who is struggling, who is down on their luck, who is hurting, when you're not in that same scenario, that's a powerful moment for all the people involved.
Yeah.
So your
Thanks for saying that.
stories, man, like your stories you must have from the people you've met, the ones you've photographed numerous times. I mean, I say with this show, everybody's story deserves to be heard.
Yeah.
I get a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't know why you want to talk to me. I'm only doing this. But your story is important.
Mhm.
Everybody's story is going to connect with a listener different.
Yeah.
And just like their story connects with you because you carry empathy. You're very empathetic. You listen to it. You understand. You're there. You're a sounding board. And you've obviously established relationships with numerous people that you've shot over the last little while. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I can only imagine it must be difficult when you see them struggling. As any person with empathy who, cares for their fellow human being, no matter what their social situation is. I mean, how do you come home and cope with that? Because I hold everything. I hold
Same.
everything close, and I'm like talking to I'm indigenous, so I say the creator, and I'm like, I need help cleansing, because if I hold on
Yeah.
to this too much longer, it's just gonna really affect me in my day to day. Not that I want to forget the story I was told, but I need to be able to focus on where I am and who I am, instead of it being like this forefront in my mind.
Yeah, man. I do carry it sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I think that I probably do have to go through some level of compartmentalization when I'm leaving certain situations. Otherwise, I can't be present for my kids. Otherwise, I would be, my mental health is fragile, man. I'm like, I'm wired to be creative, but I suffer from depression, especially in the dark winters here. And I think about those people that a lot, especially when the weather turns bad. It gets hot, it gets cold, it gets wet, very wet. And I think I just keep trying. I don't think I can ever walk away from this project. I'm thinking about how it evolves into something else, which is my inspiration lately and kind of part of what I talked about with Ben at dinner last night. I think that I've this camera has just opened up some meaning in my life and some purpose. And, I doing design work for a long time has been fun. I like solving problems. I like, but at the same time, I'm like, it's not as soulfully fulfilling. It's not as meaningful as it needs to be. And yeah, I'm invested in a lot of these people that I see all the time. And I like to honor my word. So if I say I'm going to do something for someone, I do it. So in my car currently, I have shoes, I have art supplies, I have all these things that I've promised to people, and I can't find them because they disappear, they ebb and flow, or they move, or God forbid, worse. But yeah, I just, I want to. I've been fortunate with my career. I've been fortunate, in my life, and I feel lucky. And so, I just want to help. I just want to share. I just, and so it could be anything from, buying our friend, I say our friend because many of us know her, but, and Nene, a box of fried rice, like, because she loves shrimp fried rice. And so she's hunched over in a group of 20 people and they're all doing fentanyl, and I'm bringing her some fried rice. And that sounds so insane and it's dark. And I have literally no fear. I don't trust. I give them a benefit of the doubt. I trust them. Sorry, I didn't mean to say I don't trust. I trust the situation, but I'm eyes wide open. I'm not naive. And I'll walk right into the middle of people, smoking off a foil, and I bring her dinner that we had talked about earlier in the night. And Nene, she says it with Tara too. She says with everybody, like, you're not allowed to say goodbye to her. You're only allowed to say see you soon. And God forbid I hug her with one hand, one arm, because I got something else in my other hand. Like, she makes sure that that connection happens. It's meaningful. It's real. And so, yeah, it is hard. It is heavy. It's intense. And there's some other things that kind of happen. I mean, today's Sunday. I think, yeah, a few days ago, I was walking through Chinatown, Old Town by myself, and I saw a woman literally right in front of me fall down, hit the ground. And so I propped her up on. She was sitting down on a brick wall. I propped her up to sit against this brick wall, and just kind of there for a moment. I was talking to a couple people that are around her. I didn't know her. I hadn't actually seen her before. She caught my attention because she had these really blonde, almost white eyelashes, and I was like, "Oh man, that would be kind of a cool portrait, the way it would show up in black and white." And but I didn't take the photo. I just remember thinking it. I probably like you. I see these images all the time. It's whether or not I decide to make the image, but I see them. And but that was not a time I didn't want to take advantage. I just wanted to help her. And then I walk a little bit farther, and then I just hear some yelling. I look back and she's flat on her back, and just probably a couple minutes later, and she's like fully overdosing, and someone's yelling for Narcan. And I had some in my car. Thankfully, my car was right there. I ran to my car, ran back, and chest compressions. I only had two doses of Narcan. I gave her both, and she didn't come to. And I'm on the phone with 911, and I'm giving her chest compressions. And I was like waiting for the ambulance to come. And thankfully, it arrived. But somebody over my shoulder handed me a Narcan dose, and it was one of the guys just from the neighborhood that actually was high himself. And he hands me a dose of Narcan, and I hit her with a third one, and it was like the scene out of Pulp Fiction where she just props straight up and her eyes are huge right as the ambulance pulls up, and she gets up and she walks away. Like, didn't want to be helped, didn't want anything. And so there's things like that that are tough because there are people that are just really lost, man. There's some people that I talk to. There's a guy, his name's Mountain Mike, and it's his nickname. He has these funny jokes. You'll meet him if you want to walk around when you're here. Hilarious. He's probably 30. He's got a nickname Bluefoot because he was born, he almost died, and so he was breech, and his foot was the first thing to quote unquote arrive as he was being delivered, and it was blue. And so he had this nickname his whole life. They brought him back to life, but funny guy. I saw him the other night, and he's always got a joke. He's always got a story. I mean, these people are just, really interesting. So there's people I'll into from time to time and I'll have interactions with and I'll talk to, like Mike. And this woman that I helped the other day, she just walked off, and I've seen her twice since then. And, she has no idea who I am. We just kind of pass each other. Um, and she's lost. But I look at Mike and I'm like, how did you get here, man? Like, you could be somebody that I work with. You could be somebody in the neighborhood that's, we're talking over the fence. Like, I don't understand, and then I see this other person who's just kind of on a different plane of being lost. They feel so far gone, but I feel this level of empathy equally for all of them. But I want to understand their stories. I mean, I think what I hear about, and I give you kudos for breaking your cycle, being the father that you are, because 99% of them come from a place of childhood trauma. That's the most common story. And so these people that I meet all the time, yeah, they had a really, really, really rough upbringing, and made a decision to self-medicate or whatever they did, and then they find themselves there. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I give credit to my mom for being strong enough to get us out of that situation. I remember coming home from high school. It was Christmas break, and I looked at my mom, and she had this different aura about her. And I was like looking at her like, weird, what's going on? And instantly I'm thinking that my parents got in another fight, like, it was violent again, whatever it may be. Because for those that grew up with me, we had that story on the outside where the family looked perfect. We went and did everything together. We were a great family, but it was a nightmare behind closed doors. And I remember walking in the kitchen, and she was making dinner because my dad worked graveyards. He was getting ready to leave. And she looked at me and she said, your dad leaves in 20 minutes. I have a U-Haul showing up in an hour. And I was like, what? And she's like, we're moving to Canada tonight. And I watched.
How old were you?
I was 15.
Wow, man.
And I'm in my head, I'm freaking out because I'm going to a different country. I don't know anybody. And 15 is kind of that age where you start to discover who you are. And I'm got my established friend group. Things are good for me here. And now I'm going to a country where I don't know anybody. So I had all that. Wow, but luckily I had the Richmond Skate Ranch when I came here and got to know Kevin Harris and the people of the ranch. And I skated there every day. That it was rainy, sunny, didn't matter. I just felt comfortable there. But without my mom's strength and her resilience, and her desire to get us out of that scenario, I don't know where I'd be today. If I had to continue living in that same revolving door of what kind of mood is he going to be in? Did I forget to put something away? Did I leave a glass on the counter? Like what am I coming home to? My life would probably, excuse me, my life would probably be completely different than it is now. So that's one thing I wanted to just share. But another thing is I want to thank you for, finding Narcan and helping that person. My ex-wife actually passed away from a fentanyl overdose in 2017. Wow. And the people that she was with, that she was partying with, left her laying on the ground for, we aren't sure the amount of time. It was somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour without trying to find help. And they finally called for help, and they did 2 or 3 doses of Narcan. And when she came to, she was in a vegetative state. Wow. But if those people, I feel like if they would have acted immediately, it could have been a different story. It wouldn't have been 6 months of her being in the hospital and then finally passing, and all those calls like, oh, she's not making it through the night, and rushing my kids there to say goodbye only for her to make it through the night. And it finally got to a point where I was like, hey, this is going to sound horrible, but for my children's sanity, can you please not call every night and say, oh, she's not going to make it, because they get prepared that their mom's leaving and she makes it. And then they have to go through all those emotions every day.
That's so intense.
It
For
was,
anyone that's a child with their mother. I mean, I'm sorry you went through that, man. That is, I'm sure you still feel it all the time. That's very intense.
it sucks because we were friends from, I met her within a year of moving to Canada, long before we
Yeah.
even got together. We were always
Oh, wow.
friends. And still, like, she had this laugh that could just lighten the room. And,
Hmm.
like, I miss that part of her. I miss that person she was.
Yeah.
And I miss the fact that she hasn't got to see her kids grow up. She hasn't never
Yeah.
got to meet her grandbabies. Like,
Mhm.
it sucks. It sucks for
Yeah.
anyone, right? And especially when I always wanted to help. Anytime she was in trouble, I said, just call me. It doesn't matter that we're not together. It doesn't matter that, that we don't talk often. But if you're in trouble, call me.
Yeah.
I will do whatever I can to help you. And, you know,
Yeah.
this time, bro,
So,
I couldn't save her. And I'd
well,
been through so much after our marriage ended, flying her home from across the country because she got herself into a situation with whatever guy she was dating at the time. And
yeah.
I never asked anything in return. I just wanted to know she was okay. That way, when the kids asked, I can be like, oh, yeah, yeah, I talked to mom not long ago. She's doing good. You know, it sucks.
Yeah.
Anybody who's gone through it, anybody who's lost somebody to this awful, awful epidemic of fentanyl or drugs in general,
Yeah.
just overdoses in general, it is not a pretty scenario.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean beyond scary. And I feel again a lot of empathy for what you went through, but also as a father having to talk to your kids and manage them through that loss. And it's almost, and this is, please forgive the comparison if anyone is offended by this. It's not intended to be, but I've had friends that I've lost from, or their parents from Alzheimer's, where it's like a staging of multiple deaths, and I see that with drugs. I saw that with my cousins with heroin. It's like their existence as you knew them no longer exists. They're physically alive, but they're not who they were. That person is in a different place. And the fentanyl thing is scary. I think, again, being a feeling person, like walking through certain parts of town, you can feel the vibe. Sometimes it feels glitchy and frantic and hectic, and other days it feels more happy and uplifting. And it's interesting because the different cocktails of drugs that go through that neighborhood. Like I heard from some people that they were mixing meth with fentanyl so that people weren't slumping over as much. But I mean, and they were more upright. There wasn't this, I mean, and it's just, then you start to see the behaviors change, and it's not just the drugs that changes the mood, it's just people in general, or the weather, or the, I don't know, whatever you believe, the moons, whatever. But but you do see these like the impact. But yeah, it is a staging of multiple losses, and I'm sorry for what you went through. I feel you, man. And your kids too. It's terrible. Yeah, my uncle, those are three kids. He lost, three kids basically to drugs, and one's trying to get her way back, but yeah, it's really hard to see as a father. I can't imagine that loss. But yeah, yeah, something you said I really resonate with as well. I talked about this in therapy actually earlier this week. I've had this kind of, and it's kind of connected to the photography, where I've had this. This sounds corny, but I would call it this reluctant superpower, which is just like I can come in, I can read a situation like what you described, and it's from my upbringing with my mom. Like she was tough, man, really tough, mental illness, pretty abusive. And so I would come home and not knowing if I was going to get hit with her hand, or a cup, or a glass, or a mug, or her words, and so I got good reluctantly, like I said, I got really good at kind of reading a room, or reading the situation, and knowing how to kind of navigate it, and it served me in my career. and it served me in my life. I can talk to people pretty easily because I know how to read them. But then I kind of resented this ability because of the seed that it came from. And my therapist really kind of unlocked this for me just a few days ago, which I'm super grateful for. He was like, you should have you ever thought about loving that part of who you are and embracing that part of who you are? Like from that trauma, from that crack, this thing grew into be something that's useful and kind. And so, I'd say that I would extend that and share that with you as well, man. I mean, like, being a great father, living, and thanks to your mom too, like for getting you where you needed to go and getting you safe and starting a new life, but then you also caring enough to be, conscious in how you raise your kids. I think that's in providing for them and fighting for them through a lot of loss. That's really admirable.
It's one of those things, man, where I wanted to break the mold. When my marriage ended, I wanted to do something different because traditionally the kids stay with the mom. That's
Yeah.
traditionally what happens when marriages end.
Hmm.
And all I thought of was like, I'm willing to give up anything and everything I have in my life right now to have my children with me. I will make it
Yeah.
work. I will do whatever it takes. It's going to be bumpy. It's not going to be lollipops and rainbows all the time. But those children need a stable place, a roof over their head, food in their bellies, clothes on their back, and it needs to be stable.
Yeah.
We don't need the extra, but we need to make it
Mm.
together as a family. And when I did
Yeah.
that, I lost every friend I had because the ex was spreading false stories about me, except for one
Yeah.
guy who looked at everybody and said, we've known this dude for 25 years. Anytime
Yeah.
we've ever had a problem, people threatening to hurt us, we call him and problems go away. He always had our
Yeah.
back, and you all are bailing on him. So that guy's still a super close friend of mine. But I
Yeah.
learned there I'm going to keep my circle real small. I'm going to keep my
Yeah.
circle with people that I know have feeling, heart, and trust that I can trust.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people want to be in what you're doing, but they only want to be in to get the information to make you look bad on the outside.
Yeah. It's it's so true, man. It's a little corny. I heard this, I don't know where it came from, but this adage that compared they used a tree as a metaphor where or maybe maybe it's a simile, but like the where you have some friends that are like the leaves that are in and out seasonally, and some that are like the branches that can hold a little bit of weight but not too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got some that are roots, right? That are going to be there and I subscribe to that. It's a lesson that I extend to my kids too when their feelings are hurt by a certain situation or navigating certain things. Like you, I have a couple kids in college right now, so the lessons that I'm working with them and how we share things and how we talk is a little different, but similar to how to talk to my little guys. But um, yeah, it sounds like you and I are a lot similar that way too. I kind of keep a tight circle. It could be a trust thing, but it's also just I also understand that kind of people ebb and flow and come and go, and that's all right. Like there's something you're learning, and maybe there's something they take from you and something you take from them, and you kind of keep going sometimes.
I think it helps too. We're the same age. Like, I mean, I'm a few months older than you, but like we grew up through the same era. And
Hmm.
we've dealt with some things in our lives and we've had some issues and we've come back and we're like, you know what, the world can be a great place if we want it to be a great place. It's how you
Hmm.
it's how you take every single day and everything that's thrown at you. I mean, I look at your work and I see that connection, that eye connection, where I know you've had interaction with these people. It's not just a walk down the street. Hey, here's a cheeseburger. Can I have your photo now? This is like you've
Yeah.
established communication. You've learned their names. You've learned who they are, and like you shared the story of the baseball player, right? Like that
Yeah.
that is so important to let those people know. Like, hey, I want to hear you. I want to share your story. I'm going to capture a portrait of you as a memory to your story. Um, and it must feel pretty good when, like, when the Leica gallery starts sharing your work. from this
Mm.
heart project that you have, and now you're seeing it
Mm.
shared on a pretty well established page.
Yeah, it's a little surreal because I think I I don't know why I do that. Maybe it's just just to share, I guess, or I'm looking for how to improve myself. When I was really getting into this, there was some photographers that I saw that were kind of posting on their page, or they were, accepted, and that was I was like, oh, that stuff's amazing. I'll never get there. So I remember the morning I woke up to getting an email that they had, were sharing some of my images, and it felt kind of out of body, but it was just nice to have validation, I think, as a creative person that someone else likes your work. And yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of photographers on there, and photographers that you've interviewed that I really admire and really look up to their work. And so it felt nice to, you know, I guess be at the party, I guess. I don't know, whatever that means. But again, like you can probably tell by the change in my voice. I don't really like talking about myself too much. I don't really post images of myself. It's not really about me. I'm just lucky to be able to hear stories and maybe share some stories that I hear. And it's not about exploitation. It's not about taking advantage of someone, or taking a photo of someone's foot who just lost a toe because of a certain ingredient in the fentanyl that makes your body rot. It's about, no, 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 this person is a really good person. They're just, look what they're going through. Like, as you're buying your $9 latte with probably too many shots of vanilla, like, just maybe take them. Nothing wrong with that either. Nothing wrong with that either. Like, you be you, but like, and again, I'm blessed to live a life and have a home and, a car and stuff like that. But there are other people that you don't have to donate anything other than, a kindness. Like, even when, I don't know if it's this way in Vancouver, but there's quite a large homeless population. Or I know some people are offended by the word homeless. I don't mean it that way. Some people say unhoused or houseless. Like, I try not to overthink the vernacular, but like, yeah, there's a legalization of, decriminalization of certain drugs in Portland, and it brought in a lot of people, a lot of issues kind of multiplied from that in Portland. And so I think people here are pretty callous to it. They're frustrated by it, how it was managed politically, and I kind of stay out of politics. That's not really, who I am. But I have opinions, of course, but I don't really need to be on a soapbox with anybody else. But I think that people forgot that these are people, you know, just they just looked at tents and tarps and misuse of government funding and tax dollars, a lot of tax dollars, and so people got turned off and bitter and pissed off, and I also kind of understand, like, I used to go to Chinatown. I don't know if you ever did this as a kid in Portland, and get ride the bus down and get dim sum and ride a skateboard and go home. And it's like every now and again I'll see a family that I can tell is from out of town, and they're pushing a stroller, with a couple kids through the middle of it. And I'm like, hey guys, can I help you? Like, like, I just FYI, just eyes wide open, because you can tell how uncomfortable they feel. They're in the middle of this texture, and no one's going to hurt them. There's not really violent crimes down there that I worry about, but it is scary, and they do seem a little bit lost. So I understand why, you know, I understand why people get upset or frustrated, or both. But yeah, that just kind of reinforces my goal, just to give some exposure and tell stories about people. They're humans.
Yeah, I tell stories to. So I took my wife. She had never seen downtown Portland, so we drove through Chinatown last October while we were down
Mhm.
there, and I was telling her, like, I used at 12, 13 years old, I used to take the bus downtown with a group of fellow 12-year-olds, and we would skate downtown for 8, 9 hours. Then we take the bus home,
Yeah.
and there was never a fear. It looked
Yeah.
nothing like it does now. But
Mhm.
like Vancouver is very much similar. So if you go down, say
Yeah.
East Hastings, it is tents on the sidewalk as far as you can see.
Hmm.
The same issues. It's turned into be a pretty insane place, pretty violent. A lot of stabbings, a lot of shootings now
Wow.
within the homeless community. So that's just a place that most people here avoid because
Yeah.
they tried to set a police officer on fire as he was walking down the street.
Wow, man.
So that's something like I'm not going to get put myself in that situation. I'm not going to put my kids in that situation. It's
Oh,
better
for
to
sure.
avoid that area. But
Of course. Yeah.
it's such an unfortunate scenario. I mean, everything there's got to be a way to make everything work. And
Yeah.
I just don't know what that is. Unfortunately, I don't have the answers.
Yeah. 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 No, I don't either. Actually, I don't either. I mean, it's funny. I reconnected with an old friend of mine just a couple days ago, and she was somewhere, I think somewhere in Europe, and she was telling me a story about how there really wasn't any issues or no unhoused community, and she was talking to people in these countries. Like there was a couple that she went through, and they're saying that there's a more of I don't mean this in a like a strict red curtain communist way, but like there's a socialist aspect where people are helping people, or even, the dogs that were kind of walking around, like the community would take them in. They had a system where they would, even feed the dog, give him its vaccinations, like tag its ear, and then it was just a dog that's raised by the community. Everyone knows this dog. And it was kind of similar with people. Like the community was looking out for them and caring for them, and there was more of a connection, and people that had less were actually kind of doing more to help them. But I don't really know what kind of my why I know now why, but I didn't know in the beginning why I was compelled to start working on this project. It was really kind of out of body, and it was confusing to my family. They're like, what's going on? Why are you doing this? There were some points of tension where I think it was just people worried about me being safe that came out in some, types of frustration. And I just was absolutely compelled. I still am to just every single day do this. And so I think that's probably as close as I have in my life to a calling, and I'm grateful for this camera. But again, there's more days where I'm just want to be doing good to help people, and I don't take the photos. Probably more often than not, I'm not. But it's just, everybody deserves a little bit of help. Everybody deserves a little bit of kindness, and I know you might feel it too. Like I don't mean to speak in bumper stickers and cliches and t-shirts, but like, yeah, sometimes it's, someone like, being nice to me in the grocery store, I'm like really moved by it. I'm like, thank you. Wow, man, I was really struggling, and you had no reason to be kind to me, and you
Yeah,
were. And yeah, that it matters, people need the love.
I agree, man. Well, Ryan, it's been an hour, which is where I try to cut them off because they get too hard to edit. Any final words of wisdom you have for people, and where's the best place, or how is it? Wow, I messed that one up. Where's the best place for people to find you and connect with you?
The really it's probably just through Instagram. Like I said, I just post there to hold myself accountable, and to shooting, and I call myself Portrait Project 17. 17 was my birthday, it's my dad's birthday, it's the house address I grew up in, it's my daughter's birthday. It's been this lucky number in my life, so I just kind of connected it to it. So it's portrait underscore project, dot 17. And yeah, just reach out if people are in town, and they want to shoot, they want to grab coffee, they want to talk. Like I'm always up for it, always down. And yeah, I appreciate the conversation, and I appreciate normalizing discussions about mental health, especially maybe for men, but like it's something I deal with every day. And people that are going through stuff, that are struggling, that are having a hard time, you're not alone in going through it. And I'm grateful for the challenges in my life, and because it's kind of forged who I am, and I can see how it's affected and impacted and forged who you are as well. So um, yeah, so thank you for having the forum to talk and be open, and you're doing a lot of good, man. I appreciate what you're putting out in the world.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. It's through people like yourself who see the vision and see my goals and what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to let people know it's okay to not be okay. I'm trying to let people know that you're not alone, man. There's people out there who are going through the same thing. And through these episodes, one thing I've realized is, I mean, we're at 60. What am I? 60. Thursday will be 67. I have up until 70 already scheduled to go. But through these episodes, I realize like each person brings a unique outlook and a unique way of solving issues, that we're building a community of people that are willing to like just fire them a message on Instagram, and they're going to respond to you. They're going to have an answer, or they're going to help you through a scenario. And I live by the motto community over competition. I mean, I don't have any use for competition in my life anymore. For me, it's about building a community to lift us all up. So on that note, Ryan, I want to thank you again. I look forward to connecting next time I'm back home, and, continuing to create our friendship. And, if you're friends with Ben, I mean, we're obviously going to be friends. It's pretty easy. We have a lot in common, and I'd love to catch up more, but, well, keep doing what you're doing, because it's an important thing you're doing for not only Portland, but for other communities to see that people are people. And if we treat them that way, life is pretty damn good.
I agree, man. I agree. That's awesome. Oh, thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you for tuning in to the Life of Phys Podcast. I hope today's conversation brought you insight, inspiration, or just a fresh perspective on the creative journey. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to follow, rate, and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. It really helps us grow and reach more listeners like you. For updates, behind-the-scene content, and more, please follow us on all social medias at LIFE_OF_PHYS. And don't forget to check out the show notes for links and resources from today's episode. Until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and keep living the life of creativity.